Quick question. When was the last time you thought about how a Pokeball actually works? Like really works? Because I was playing the other day and I threw a ball at a Gyarados, this massive sea serpent that's like 21 feet long, and it just fit inside a ball the size of an orange. And then I could put that ball in my pocket and nobody in the game acted like this was weird. So I started going down this rabbit hole of all the technology in the Pokemon world. And honestly, the more you look at it, the less sense any of it makes. We're talking about tech that makes our world look like we're still banging rocks together. Let's start with the obvious one, Pokeballs. These things can shrink a literal Wailord, a creature that's 47 feet long and weighs over 800 pounds, into a ball small enough to fit in your pocket. How? Energy conversion, apparently. The Pokeball somehow converts the Pokemon's matter into energy, stores it, and then converts it back when you release them, which is insane. That's Star Trek level technology. That's stuff we can't even theoretically do in the real world yet. And in the Pokemon universe, it's so common that you can buy these things at a convenience store for like 200 Pokedollars. And it's not just basic Pokeballs either. There are Great Balls, Ultra Balls, Master Balls, Luxury Balls, Quick Balls, Dusk Balls. The list goes on. Each one has different properties and catch rates, which means someone engineered all of these different variations. There's a whole Pokeball industry with research and development teams trying to make better balls. Johnson, we need a ball that works better in caves. Get on it. And Johnson's out here trying to figure out how to make a cave-specific matter-to-energy converter. That's his job. But Pokeballs are just the beginning. Let's talk about the PC system, because this might be even crazier. You can store your Pokemon in a computer and then access them from literally any Pokemon Center in the world. Instant data transfer. Your Charizard is in Pallet Town, you're in Sinnoh, you open a PC and boom, there's your Charizard. That's not just cloud storage, that's transferring actual living creatures as data across what has to be a global network. And it happens instantly. No loading time, no lag. Just perfect, instantaneous transfer of complex biological data. And who runs the system? Professor Bill, or Professor Cilio, or whoever the regional PC admin is. These professors have created and maintained a system that can store infinite Pokemon, transfer them anywhere, and never loses data. Never crashes, never has maintenance downtime. You know how impressive that is? We can't even get email to work reliably half the time. And these professors have created a flawless global biological data storage and transfer network. Oh, and apparently it can store infinite Pokemon. You can catch hundreds, thousands of Pokemon, and the PC just handles it. Where is that storage? How much data is a living Pokemon? What's the file size on a Rayquaza? These are questions nobody asks because everyone just accepts that the PC works. And then there's the Pokemon Center healing machines. Nurse Joy puts your Pokeballs on a tray, the machine does its thing for like 10 seconds, and your Pokemon are completely healed. Broken bones, fixed. Knocked unconscious by a hyper beam, fine now. Paralyzed, burned, poisoned, all good. This machine can cure literally any status condition and heal any injury in seconds, for free. This is medical technology that would revolutionize healthcare in the real world. And in the Pokemon universe, it's just standard equipment at every Pokemon Center. Nobody thinks twice about it. But here's where it starts to get a little creepy. Where did all this technology come from? Because the Pokemon world isn't that far ahead of us in most ways. They have phones, they have trains, they have mostly normal cities. But then they also have this hyper-advanced biotechnology that can convert matter to energy, transfer living beings as data, and heal catastrophic injuries instantly. That's a pretty big gap, right? So here's a theory that I can't stop thinking about. What if all of this technology came from studying Pokemon themselves? Think about it, Pokemon can do things that break the laws of physics. Psychic Pokemon can teleport. Electric Pokemon generate massive amounts of electricity from their bodies. Ghost Pokemon can phase through walls. What if humans in the Pokemon world figured out how to reverse engineer these abilities and turn them into technology? Pokeballs might be based on how certain Pokemon can minimize themselves or change form. The PC system could be derived from psychic-type teleportation abilities. The healing machines might use the same regenerative properties that Pokemon naturally have. The entire technological foundation of the Pokemon world might just be stolen from Pokemon, which is kind of dark when you think about it. And there's evidence for this too. Remember Bill, the guy who invented the PC storage system? He had an accident where he accidentally fused himself with a Pokemon, which means he was doing experiments that involved combining human and Pokemon DNA or energy or something. Why was he doing that? What was he trying to figure out? Was he trying to understand how Pokemon transformation works so he could improve the PC system? Because that's the kind of experiment you do when you're trying to reverse engineer biological technology. And Bill's not the only one. There are scientists all over the Pokemon world doing questionable experiments. Blaine was creating Mewtwo, a literal genetically engineered super Pokemon. Team Rocket was trying to control Pokemon with technology. Culpress in Unova was researching how to bring out a Pokemon's full power through artificial means. There's a whole undercurrent of humans trying to understand, replicate, and control Pokemon abilities through technology. So maybe the Pokemon world isn't actually more advanced than us. Maybe they just have access to living, breathing cheat codes in the form of Pokemon, and they've been studying them for long enough to figure out how to copy some of their abilities, which honestly makes more sense than humans independently invented matter-to-energy conversion and perfected instant biological data transfer. But okay, let's lighten this up a bit because I've been going down a dark path here. Let's talk about what it would actually be like to live in the Pokemon world with all this technology, because it can't all be smooth sailing, right? Imagine calling tech support because your Pikachu got stuck in the PC. Yes, hello. I was trying to withdraw my Pikachu and the system froze. Now it says he's in transfer limbo. What do you mean there's no transfer limbo? Then where is my Pikachu? And you're just sitting there on hold listening to the Pokemon Center theme music for an hour while some tech support person tries to figure out where your Pokemon went in the cloud. Have you tried turning the PC off and on again? Yeah. I'm not doing that with my Pikachu in there, thanks. Or what about Pokeball malfunctions? These things are converting matter to energy and back constantly. What happens when one breaks mid-transfer? Does your Pokemon just cease to exist? Does it get corrupted? Do you end up with a glitchy half-materialized Charizard? Because that sounds horrifying. And also there's no way that's never happened. Somewhere at some point a Pokeball has malfunctioned and something terrible happened. They just don't talk about it. It's in the fine print. Kurt's Custom Pokeballs, not responsible for matter conversion errors or existential horror. And the Pokemon Center healing machines. What if one of those breaks? What if Nurse Joy puts your Pokemon in there and it just doesn't work? Sorry, the healing machine is down for maintenance. Your Snorlax will just have to wait. And you're standing there with a Snorlax that's been knocked out by a fighting type move and it's just gonna be unconscious for the next 3 hours until the repair person shows up. That's gotta be awkward. Oh, and here's another fun thought. The Pokedex is supposed to be this amazing piece of technology that automatically scans and records information about every Pokemon you encounter. But like how? How does it know that Magcargo is hotter than the sun? Did someone test that? Did someone measure a Magcargo's temperature and survive? Or does the Pokedex just make stuff up? I don't know, this one looks hot. Let's say 18,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Sure, that sounds right. Half the Pokedex entries sound completely made up, which means either the Pokedex is unreliable or the Pokemon world is even more terrifying than we thought. And you know what? Nobody ever questions any of this. Kids just accept that they can store living creatures in computers. Trainers just trust that their Pokemon will materialize correctly from their Pokeballs every time. Everyone just assumes the healing machines work. It's wild. In the real world, people don't even trust their phones to not randomly delete their photos. But in the Pokemon world, everyone's just totally cool with converting their beloved pets into data and beaming them across the world. So here's what I think. Maybe the Pokemon world isn't this utopian future where technology solved all our problems. Maybe it's just really good at hiding the stuff it doesn't want us to understand. The technology works, sure, but nobody really knows how or why. It's all just built on this foundation of Pokemon research that might be ethically questionable at best and deeply disturbing at worst. And everyone's just fine with it because it's convenient, because it works, because questioning it might reveal something we don't want to know. Like, what if the PC system isn't actually storing Pokemon? What if it's creating copies and deleting the originals? What if every time you withdraw a Pokemon from the PC, it's technically a different Pokemon with the same memories? Would you even know? Would it matter? These are the kinds of questions that keep me up at night, and apparently nobody in the Pokemon world cares because they're too busy using the PC to organize their living creatures by type and level. And the really scary part, the technology keeps advancing. In newer games, you can access your PC from anywhere using your Rotom phone. You don't even need to go to a Pokemon Center anymore. Just pull out your phone and transfer Pokemon from anywhere, which is super convenient, but also means that the entire PC system is now accessible via a phone app. A phone app has access to the global biological data storage network. What could possibly go wrong? So yeah, the hidden technology that powers the Pokemon world. It's convenient, it's advanced, it's kind of terrifying when you think about it too hard, and nobody asks questions because everyone's too busy catching them all. Maybe that's the real genius of it. Make the technology so useful that nobody wants to examine it too closely. Make it so integrated into society that questioning it seems ridiculous. And just hope that nobody notices that we're all trusting our Pokemon's lives to systems we don't really understand, built on research we don't really talk about, maintained by a handful of professors who definitely know more than they're telling us. But hey, at least it works. Probably. Most of the time. Unless it doesn't, in which case please don't think about it too hard. Well, stick around for the best Pokemon channel that exists, I guess. I mean, probably anyways.